Good morning, good morning, good morning. Hope you all are well this morning. Today is Tuesday, July 28th, and we are hanging out this morning. So let's give everybody a second here and see what's going on. And let me check my stuff on my end to make sure that we're doing all the things we're doing. Today we are talking about plot twist. Seems like everything's working on my end, so that is awesome. I hope that you are having an awesome day. My day has been pretty good so far. Up early to get a shower and have my coffee and everything at Panera, then to Mass. And I've been for my 1 mile walk here at the park, and I've just been hanging out, getting ready for this live stream. So here we are. What are we doing here? And who am I? So in case you're wondering, if you've never seen this before, I am Faith. My name is Faith, and the whole point of me being here is because I believe that in all the stress and all the craziness of our world, it would be really great if there was a place where people could just show up however they are in that moment and know that they are loved and they are accepted and that they are heard and all of those things. So that's the idea behind Carrying Connections with Faith. And so that's what we're doing. We're just hanging out, and I've kind of whittled it down. Instead of a longer stream, we're just doing shorter streams until the channel grows a little bit. So that's what we're doing. We're just hanging out together, and I'm just posting to Facebook that we are live. Give me 2 shakes here. And you might be wondering what's up with that picture that I have as the thumbnail for today. And that is actually a picture of penicillin. Because I was looking for examples in history where there was a plot twist somewhere. So we're going to talk about penicillin today. We're going to talk about Post-it notes today. And I'm going to share with you 3 stories of my own experience where there was a major plot twist in my life and how that turned out for me. Because I believe that we always have a choice in these plot twists of life where life throws you a curveball, that we always have a choice to look and see something good in them. So that's what we're going to talk about today. You know, there's that old saying, when one door closes, look for a window, or look for, like another way. So I'll just give you a little bit of the backstory of how we got here in the first place, why we're even talking about this right now. So a couple of days ago, I mentioned it yesterday on my check-in. A couple of days ago, we had a family meeting, and family meetings were a thing of my childhood. Actually, we would have family meetings quite frequently, to everybody to get on the same page and to figure out, what's coming up and all of those things, right? So now we have family meetings at my son's house. So my son and his fiance, my daughter-in-love, and my daughter Emma, we all get together and we have family meetings. And we keep up with, what's going on with who and who needs what this week and all of those things, right? So it's something we do. And at our family meeting this week, we were talking about what it's going to look like when my daughter Emma starts back to school. She is going to be a high schooler for the first time this year. So that means school starts super, super, super early, like a lot of days it's going to be before even the sun comes up. We're definitely going to have to leave super early. So that means a lot of adjustments in the schedule and how we're going to make that work. And a lot of you know that because I live on a very small budget with my disability, that we have to, I am always trying to make sure that we stay in budget, and it's a lot of gas shuttling someone to high school every day. And so we were trying to figure out, you know, how to make that work most economically. And my daughter-in-law graciously and wonderfully offered her vehicle as a substitute for my big huge van that gets like 0 miles to the gallon, not literally, but just about. And her car is tiny and very fuel efficient. And so we were like, wow, that would be really great. That would save a lot of money in gas. And then we had to figure out how to make that work, because now there's 2 people that need to be places. My daughter needs to get to her high school, and my daughter-in-law needs to get to work every day. So that means I would be then the driver of all of this roundabout over 170 miles a day. So that's cool. You know, like I have no problem with that. I think that parents need to do whatever they need to do to make it work, to facilitate what's best for their kids. And so right now that's what's best for all of us, for my daughter. And so we're going to make it work. But I went to bed that night and I was a little bit sad, a little bit bummed, because right now I have a routine where I go to Mass, I attend Mass as a Catholic every single day, because I find it to be a place of peace. I find it starts my day off on the right foot. I love meeting with other people and, you know, just being with people who have the same idea in life, and we're trying to build something together. And so I go to Mass every day. It's just something I do. So when I'm thinking about okay, we need to be here at this time, we need to be here at this time, we need to be here at this time, all of that was not conducive to going to Mass in the morning. And the other thing was that our original plan that we had for how we were going to get my daughter to school involved me being close to that beach. Remember when we started the channel and I was at the beach all the time? So right now I don't get to that beach very often anymore because I am not in that area right now. And so I was kind of a little bit looking forward to, wow, I'll be able to get to the beach a couple of times a week now too, right? And so we're almost done with the heat, and we're gonna be heading into the cooler months where being at the beach would be amazing. And so I was kind of looking forward to that. And so this new plan wasn't really going to facilitate that in the same way. So it looked like I was going to be losing something, right? I was going to be losing what brings me a lot of peace and helps me to maintain that decrease in anxiety, and it helps me to regulate my PTSD a lot when I start my day that way. So I was a little bit worried, and I didn't know what to do. And so while we were having the family meeting, I was looking at my phone and looking at the map and trying to find where I might be able to find a church that I could attend Mass. I don't know why they're having so much noise all of a sudden behind me. So sorry. It sounds like a blower, but I don't see a blower. I see people working back there, but it doesn't seem like they have any reason to be, they're working on the electric box, but I don't see any reason for them to be using a blower. Anyway, so I'm looking and I don't see any Catholic churches that are in that area that I'm now going to be basically living in every day. And so I didn't know what to do. And I thought, okay, I'm going to go to bed and maybe this will look better in the morning. And I kind of had trouble sleeping. So I finally got out of bed at around 5. I had been up on and off a lot of the night, thinking about it and praying about it. And so I got up at 5 and I thought, okay, so just me looking at Google Maps is not working. So let's bring in Gemini AI and ask if there's any suggestions that might be doable in that route that I have to do every day when school starts. So the thing is that I was looking in an area, a surrounding area by the places I would need to be at. My daughter's school, my daughter-in-law's work, things like that. I was trying to keep it in that same radius so we don't waste gas, right? So I'm looking, and there's nothing that has like a noon mass. There was one church that had a noon mass one day of the week. So I was a little bummed, and so I went to Gemini AI and I asked, here's what I want to do. I want to accomplish. Can you suggest anything that would help me in this situation? And lo and behold, Gemini AI says, well, why don't you go to St. Leo's Abbey? Okay, I've never heard of it. I don't know where it is. Let's do some research. So I start doing some research, and it turns out that in St. Leo, Florida, there is a university called St. Leo's. It's a Catholic university, and they have an abbey. It's a beautiful building in the Roman Greco style. It looks amazing. And they have Benedictine monks there, guys, like actual monks. And they do a noon mass. So it's going to be like this amazing thing, right? So now I can drop off my daughter-in-law, have my coffee, do my writing, Bible writing, and then head to mass and go to mass with the monks. Oh, right? How cool is that? Right? Something I never would have thought of when that door was closing. Never in a million years would I have thought that there's an option to go to mass with monks. And I've looked at their Facebook page, and they go live every day at all of their prayer times. So I've been able to watch the live stream from yesterday's mass at noon, and it is beautiful. They do the Gregorian chanting with all of the mass, and it's just beautiful and peaceful and amazing. So what a great new experience that I would never have even known about if I hadn't tried to make this work. When I got a plot twist, if I hadn't accepted it and tried to see what my options were when the plot twist came. So that's the whole point that I want to talk about today. What we do with plot twists and being open to new things in our lives, things that we might not have ever thought about, we might not have ever planned, and being able to make something absolutely amazing and beautiful out of what may seem like a bad situation. So I promised you we would talk about penicillin today. So that's the picture. And so we're going to talk about penicillin. I'm going to tell you the story behind penicillin. Most of you probably know the story, but just in case you don't, I'm going to tell you The story starts in 1928. Okay? So Dr. Alexander Fleming was a scientist. And so he was heading out on a 2-week vacation. And he had been studying, and he had these petri dishes, right, that had Staphylococcus bacteria. Okay, so he left the petri dishes. He didn't clean up before he went on vacation. He left his lab in a messy, disastrous state, thinking that basically his experiments were a total failure. So he goes on vacation, comes back to this failure and a disaster of a lab, and he knows that the petri dishes with that bacteria in them have been contaminated with mold. Okay? So his culture that he was trying to create was essentially ruined in that moment. So what he did, he could have said, wow, this is a disaster, and thrown everything in the trash. He could have done that. That would have been a logical, frustrated choice, right? To just throw it away and start over. Instead, he looked a little bit more closely at the situation, and he noticed that something was happening in that dish, something very strange. The bacteria was not able to grow anywhere near the mold ring. So the dirty, forgotten petri dish led to the discovery of penicillin. Was the world's first true antibiotic, which has now, fast forward from 1928, has saved an estimated 200 million lives. All because he chose to look at the plot twist and examine and look a little bit closer and find something amazing out of it instead of just throwing it away. So that's the story behind penicillin. Isn't that awesome? So that's penicillin. Now let me give you another example. Another example is let me go back to the beginning. In 2019, I had a massive heart attack. I had a lot of damage to my heart because of that heart attack, because I ignored the warning signs, the early warning signs, and I waited almost 2 days to go to the emergency room with having all these symptoms, right? Because I was a little bit more stubborn in those days and a little bit pig-headed, and I have since done a lot of growing. And so anyway, the damage was done, and then we spent 2 years trying to fix the damage and make my heart work better and me be able to breathe and cope and live and all of those things, right? So then fast forward to 2021, when my cardiologist says, okay, we've tried everything else. The only option left for you to do anything is going to be open heart surgery. And this is going to fix everything, he assured me. Okay, so we have the open heart surgery. And what happens during that surgery? I have major complications from the surgery that result in PTSD. And because of that PTSD being so bad, I am unable to even be inside buildings without windows. I am extremely panicked when I'm put in those situations because of the complications from my surgery. And so then fast forward some more. So now we're at, from 2019 to 2022, So that's 3 years of struggling, not really being able to work. I was trying to work some, but my house, which was a beautiful Habitat for Humanity house, actually went into foreclosure 3 times, and I was able to wrench it out each time. But the reality of the situation was that we weren't going to be able to keep this up, keep doing it long term, right? And so the best choice for our family at that time, we decided, was going to have to be to put the house up for sale and do something different. And at this point, I was really struggling to even be able to be inside buildings at all. And so I was living outside in my backyard, under like a gazebo. And so that was my life at that point. And so once we were going to sell the house, I would no longer have a backyard to live in, right? So my dad found this wonderful van, and he gave me the van. And so that's how I started researching and learning about living in a vehicle. And I discovered I could have sat down and just refused to continue on, because it was so hard, guys. It was been so easy to just throw my hands up and sit on the sidewalk and just be that homeless person that gives up, right? That could have been me. Instead, I chose to look a little bit more closely at options, and I found this amazing lifestyle that thousands and thousands and thousands of people are doing in the US and all over the world, called van life. And a lot of people do it in cars too. It's not just vans. A lot of people are nomads that travel in their cars, and they have these wonderful, amazing lives. It's not just, it's not this life of just loss and lack. It can be, you can make a life to be whatever you want to be. So that plot twist in my life was humongous, right? It changed everything. It changed where I lived, how I can't work anymore, all of that. My daughter wasn't able to live with me anymore. All of my whole life, basically, it felt at first was imploding. And looking closer and looking back now, I can see how amazing, as much as it was so difficult and so hard, how amazing that was. And it's built this life that I love. I love being able to have the freedom to spend time with you guys and to be here. Look at this beautiful place with this beautiful lake and all the nature, right? I'm so blessed now as a result of a major plot twist that could have destroyed me if I let it. And I'm going to tell you one more story at the end. And first, I'm going to tell you one more story about another thing that happened in history that you might not have any idea about. Okay? So next, let's talk about sticky notes, Post-it notes. I don't know if any of you realize, but Post-it notes were a plot twist. This man, Dr. Spencer Silver, in 1968, he was trying to develop a super strong adhesive. He was working with the company 3M. And so he needed to develop this adhesive that was going to be durable and strong. And so what happened was his formula just wouldn't work. He couldn't get it to work. So he ended up instead with this weak glue that peeled off of surfaces effortlessly and didn't leave any residue. So if you're looking at that from a 3M perspective, that he was getting paid to find this adhesive for the company, He was a complete failure. The experiment, all of the work he had done was a complete failure. Okay? So then years went by. Years go by, right? And so it's not until 1974, all this time, he's thinking that that glue that he made was a disaster. Plot twist, 1974, his colleague, his name was Art Fry. He got frustrated because his bookmarks kept falling out of his church choir hymnal, and he needed these bookmarks to stay in place. That's when the light bulb went off in both of their minds. So they paired up together and they put that weak adhesive onto paper. They created the first Post-it note. Now, this is one of the most sold items all across the earth. How often do we use Post-it notes, right? We use Post-it notes for everything. And how amazing are they? But what would have happened if they had just given up, right? He could have given up and thrown it in the trash. But he didn't. They didn't. It took a little bit of looking, a little bit of reworking and having to reimagine something. But look at how great it turned out for them, right? So that's what I would love us to really grasp hold of, this fact that yes, there's going to be plot twists in life. If you are able to go through life just smooth sailing your whole life, more power to you. But that is not the way it happens for most of us. And I think that I would like to believe that those of us that are faced with those plot twists actually become deeper people. We become people with a character that is so wonderful, right? Because we have had to grow and learn and become the best version of ourselves if we let the plot twist teach us something and help us to grow. So, my last example ties in with the first one. Sorry. I need a drink. Talking too much. Ties in with the the one the one that I just told you about, the heart attack. So because I had the heart attack and the open heart surgery and all of the struggles and all of those things, I ended up going to a support group where I met my wonderful friend Frank, and I have mentioned Frank many times in the past. And because of, man, what is wrong with my voice today? Sorry, guys. Because I had had that plot twist and had a way to pivot, I met Frank, and because I wasn't able to work, I was able to be helpful to people around me. So I was going and helping my parents. I was going and spending time with my daughter when she needed. I was able to help with the care of my grand puppy when he was super small, all because of that one plot twist of the heart attack and the open heart surgery and losing the house. So fast forward, I meet Frank, and Frank and I become great friends. And then Frank is diagnosed with stage 4 progressive cancer and given not much time to live. He was given less than 6 months to live. And Frank did have a lot of friends. But a lot of his friends, a lot of his friends had things going on in their own lives, as people do. And so when Frank was diagnosed with cancer, he had a wonderful friend, Kathy, who had a medical background and was able to take him to doctor's appointments and those kind of things. He also had another wonderful friend named Tom that was able to do more of the heavy lifting kind of stuff. Tom was the muscles. So Kathy was the medical, Tom was the muscles, and I became part of that team as the emotional support. So that was my job in that 3-person team with Frank. And so I was able to be with him and spend lots of time with him and really help him through a lot of really tough moments where he didn't understand what was going on and he felt afraid and alone. And, you know, like, it was a gift to me that plot twist had created an opportunity for me to be with him in the final moments of his life, to be with him at hospice. Even again, it was not easy, guys. I'm not saying this is easy stuff, but the beauty of being able to be with him as he passed and give him that comfort and that stability and know that someone was with him always, you know, like he was not alone in those final moments, was really something super, super special that I wouldn't have had if I still had a house and a job and all of those things to deal with. And even more than that, it was a huge blessing because in the taking care of Frank in those final months and weeks and moments, I met my partner. And that relationship for almost 2 years was such a thing of beauty, right? A plot twist that came because I continued to learn and to grow and be open to look at things. And so my partner and I had almost two beautiful years where I did so much learning and growing and healing of my own stuff. A lot of the baggage and emotional trauma that I still had from abuse as a child, a lot of that got healed and dealt with as a result of that relationship. And before that, I had been dead set that I was not ever gonna trust a man again, because I had already had 2 failed marriages. The first being physically and emotionally abusive, the second one being very emotionally abusive. So I was determined never again would I ever do this, right? And then I met my ex-partner, and it was amazing. Just a time of healing and growing and learning how relationships can be really wonderful, and learning how to communicate and lots of things about myself. And I'm so grateful. And even though, plot twist, that relationship has now ended, again, I just see this amazing gift that as much as it was so hard to say goodbye to that relationship and to come to terms and grieve and all of those things, now I see it as such a big gift because I'm able to spend more time with my kids and really be there when they need me, and really have these moments with my daughter that I would not have been able to have if I was still in a relationship. So I'm really so thankful for that plot twist, that as I look deeper, even though, again, it hurt like crazy and the pain of getting through it was almost unbearable at times. And now I can see what a gift, right? What an amazing closing of that door to open this beautiful window of possibility, of time, of relationship with my family. So we always have a choice. If we get hit with a plot twist, we get to choose, are we going to throw that petri dish in the trash, or are we going to look a little bit deeper and we're going to look for a window in our life, an opportunity to grow and be the best version of ourselves that we can be. So that's my story for today. I think that there's lots of other things in history that I could have shared with you. I have a whole list of plot twists that I could have shared with you. But I think that's cool for today, to share those stories with you, and hopefully they have been able to be meaningful in your life and give you a little bit of hope that if you're experiencing that plot twist in your life, where life has kind of thrown you a curveball and you don't know what to do next, that you would just be open to explore and to not throw the petri dish in the trash, not give up, not go sit on a sidewalk somewhere, but to keep looking and to keep searching for the beauty that's there, because there is beauty there in every plot twist. There is an open door, an open window, something that can be amazing if we let it. So that's my hope for you today, that you will always remember that no matter what happens, we always have a choice, and things can be really, really amazing if we let them. It's all in how we look at it. What's your plot twist? I would so love it. So far, this community has been slow going, and that's okay, but I would love it if you got something out of this video, if you would just leave me a little tiny comment and just say a thumbs up even would be fantastic, so I know that it's helping someone, right? And that it's doing some good. And if you like this video, if you could give it a thumbs up, and if you could share it, even if you shared it on Facebook or Instagram or somewhere, that we could grow the community, right? Because there's so many people that are hurting, and for us to just be selfish when we have an opportunity, if it only takes 2 seconds to share something, right? Or to subscribe to the channel. These are things that are so small and they only take a second, but they could have such a big ripple, and we could change the world. So I'm sending you lots and lots and lots of love today, and I hope that you're able to find some joy and some sunshine, even if you are experiencing a plot twist. I would love for you to tell me about it if you can, if you don't mind taking the time to do that. And I'm going to sign off for today. I'm sending you lots of love, like I said, and I will see you again Friday morning. We're going to go again at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So I will talk to you again soon. Bye for now. Love you guys.